You're now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
You're now rocking with Tuff Tiger Talk. What's going on, Tuff Tiger Talk family? Big ups to the Purple and Gold Nation. We in the building for another episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. This is going to be a flash report, but an extended flash report of the latest news in the Tiger Nation this past a few days. And let's get going. So before we get going, please hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber and join the realest show covering LSU football. Florida Gators land former 5-star transfer Eric Gilbert. Now, originally, he was believed to be going back to Georgia, but he decided ultimately to head to the Gators, giving them a fierce weapon after they've already gonna losing Kyle Pitts, who is the 2020 Mackey Award winner, is going to probably be the top tight end in the NFL's draft coming up. Losing him, but getting one of the best, a 5-star recruit, to replace him in Florida is big for the Gators. So with that being said, Eric Gilbert saying that after careful consideration, I've decided to commit to the University of Florida. This is the best situation for me. So with that being said, we lose a big piece in Eric Gilbert, but we knew when he opted out, entered the NCAA transfer portal on January the 5th, we knew eventually that Coach O was trying to get him to come back, but he just decided to go elsewhere. Of course, there was rumblings about him being homesick and all this kind of stuff, but ultimately he decided to head elsewhere. Now, Eric Gilbert, in his lone season with the Tigers, 35 catches for 368 yards. He averaged about 10.5 yards per catch and had 2 touchdowns. Nothing really flashy, but losing Eric Gilbert is going to hurt a bit. Wouldn't hurt so bad if we lost him outside the SEC, but to lose him to the Florida Gators, that's a tough one, and we'll just have to have other guys to step up. Let's move on. Next article up the bat, of course, LSU officially hires former NFL star Andre Carter as its defensive line coach. One day after it was reported that LSU had targeted Andrew Carter as its defensive line coach, the move became official as Orgeron released a statement saying that Andre was an outstanding defensive lineman for a long time in the NFL, and now he's translating what he did and learned as a player to those he's coaching. He says, Andre is very bright, up-and-coming coach who will be doing a great job with our defensive line. With our entire defensive line coming back, they're going to be able to learn firsthand from the NFL veteran on what it takes to become a dominant player. Now, the 41-year-old Carter spent the previous 2 seasons as a defensive line coach with the Jets before coming to New York. Carter was an assistant defensive line coach with the Miami Dolphins, was in Miami where he crossed paths with new LSU defensive coordinator Durante Jones, a former All-American defensive end at Cal. Carter was the number 4 overall pick in the 2001 draft by the Niners. He played 13 seasons in the NFL, recorded 80.5 career sacks. Not bad for Carter, and a big addition to the staff, as Carter will have an outstanding group to work with next season as LSU returns all 4 starters on the defensive line. So that is huge news for LSU. Now, with that being said, let's go over the LSU's 2021 coaching staff. Will look a little different than the 2020 staff. The Tigers lost 5 assistants the past offseason. Offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger is transitioning to an off-field role, more like an analyst. And of course, you have defensive line coach Bill Johnson, who retired, safeties coach Bill Bush, who didn't have his contract renewed. None of those guys did. In addition, LSU parted ways with passing game coordinator Scott Linehan and defensive coordinator Bo Pelini. So with that being said, the breakdown of LSU's football staff coming into this season is how it looked. Jake Peets takes over as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Now, Peets joined LSU staff after serving as the Carolina Panthers quarterback coach in 2020. Now, Peets played college football in Nebraska and had been coaching since 2006, has an extensive experience in the NFL. Peets also spent time on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama on 2 different occasions as an offensive analyst in 2013 and then again in 2018. DJ Mangas is the passing game coordinator now. And Mangas was a package deal with Peets. This is the second stint at LSU for DJ Mangas, who's previously served as an analyst for the Tigers in 2019. Mangas spent the 2020 season as an offensive assistant in Carolina under Joe Brady. who was the guy that recommended both Peets and Mangas for the job at LSU. James Craig, who's the offensive line coach, is one of the 5 assistants that's returning from the 2020 staff. Craig has been on Coach O's staff since 2018. He previously worked with Coach O at USC and Tennessee, and he also has NFL experience. He was an assistant offensive line coach for the Chargers and Broncos prior to landing in Baton Rouge. Kevin Falk, we all know him and love him. Great dude. He's the running backs coach, an LSU legend, and joined Coach O's staff a couple years ago as the director of player development. Falk was promoted to the running back coach in 2020. He's an ace recruiter who is key in LSU's attempt to keep elite talent in state. Very smart hire there. Mickey Joseph, who's the wide receivers coach. Joseph is a New Orleans native, entering his 5th year as the LSU's wide receiver coach. Has been doing a terrific job there. Joseph, who played college football in Nebraska, had never been a coach at a Power 5 level before landing at LSU, but he has an extensive experience coaching in Louisiana at the collegiate and high school level, which helps him tremendously in recruiting as well. Durante Jones, who is the defensive coordinator and safeties coach. Jones is joining LSU staff based on recommendations of former Tigers defensive coordinator Dave Aranda. Now, Jones coached under Aranda at Wisconsin. Prior to joining Orgeron's staff, Jones served as the defensive backs coach for the Minnesota Vikings. So the theme offensively, Joe Brady makes the recommendation for Peets and Mangas, and defensively, Dave Aranda makes the suggestion or the reference for Durante Jones. Blake Baker is the linebackers coach hired. He's another new member of Coach O's staff. He was hired away from the Miami Hurricanes, where he served as Manny Diaz's defensive coordinator. Baker's a Houston native who coached at Louisiana Tech for 5 seasons before his 2 seasons with the Miami Hurricanes. Our cornerbacks coach, Corey Raymond, a Louisiana native who played at LSU, will be entering his 10th season on the Tiger staff, which makes him the longest tenured member of Coach O's staff. Raymond has passed up several defensive coordinator opportunities to remain at LSU. He's also a tremendous and excellent recruiter as well. Of course, we mentioned Andrew Carter, who comes on as the defensive line coach. He played collegiately at California, served as a graduate assistant, and also he had some coaching experience, 4 years with Adam Gase with Miami and the Jets. And of course, Greg McMahon, who's a special teams guy, entering his 4th season on LSU staff. He has nearly 40 years of coaching experience before he landed on the Tiger staff. McMahon worked for New Orleans Saints for 10 years as an assistant special teams coordinator, then the special teams coordinator. And remember, he's also Coach Payton's college roommates. The National Signing Day is fastly approaching us. LSU's 2022 recruiting class is taking off and evidently isn't slowing down anytime soon. On Sunday, Bo Bordelon shut down his recruitment and committed to LSU. Tigers offered verbal scholarship offer earlier this week, and he took only a matter of days before he said, you know what, I'm playing for the Tigers. Bo will follow in the footsteps of his father, Ben Bordelon, who's a 3-year starter and team captain on LSU football team in the early 90s. How about that? Like father, like son. Big ups to him. And Bordelon, who plays left tackle for the Greenies, is the second LSU in-state commitment on the offensive line for the Tigers this weekend. On Saturday, Neville's Will Campbell, who's ranked as a top 5 offensive tackle prospect nationally, also committed to the Tigers. And LSU now has 3 offensive linemen committed for the 2022 class, with Bordelon Campbell joining Mobile, Alabama's offensive guard Lucas Taylor on a list for offensive line coach James Craig. Now, the Tigers have a 3rd Louisiana offer out on the offensive line in Catholic Ties Emory Jones. Video gamers out there, just to announce, EA Sports announced new college football video game release. It has been 8 years since the last time EA Sports released an NCAA football game, but that looks to change as the video game publisher announced on Tuesday that EA Sports college football will be returning. Though it is not yet known when NCAA football will exactly return, this is certainly a step in the right direction, one that many fans have been waiting for since its untimely end with NCAA football 2014. According to EA Sports Vice President and General Manager Daryl Holt via ESPN, the game will feature over 100 teams in the game, partnering with collegiate licensing companies, CLC, giving the game all of the traditions, uniforms, playbooks to go into the game. 2019, that the NCAA Board of Governors voted unanimously to institute new rules allowing for athletes to profit from the use of their name, image, and likeness. This could be and effect on how and when the game will be made. The changes will set to be take place real soon. So really interesting to see. That is a very positive thing because I was a major player of this game. I really like the EA Sports College game. Now to be able to have likenesses and names on 100+ teams, this is going to be really big for the college football gaming world. So that'll do it for this edition of Tuff Tiger Talk. If you like the show, please hit the like button. And even further, please subscribe and join the realest show covering LSU football. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. Appreciate you. Hit the like button, subscribe, and go Tigers.